Friends, on behalf of the Higher Education Forum, ISTD Navi Mumbai, SIS LLD, and other allied institutions, we extend a very hearty welcome to all of you for this interesting talk today. Sorry if we got a little bit delayed because of the technical glitches. And today's talk is on a very important topic of sentiment analysis. Many of you are aware of it, so let me not talk on the particular topic. But about the speaker, he's also well known in the city of the Bombay, Dr. Ajay Gupta, a very, very known qualitative researcher. He has written a very fantastic book on Atlas TI and its application on the qualitative research, which is a Springer publication and one of the well-respected books. He is an MBA from the Asian Institute in Manila and also a PhD from Tata Institute of Social Sciences, and currently is a professor with the Vivekananda Institute of Management, and is a very well respected researcher, particularly in the area of the quality research in the entire country. It's we are grateful to sir that you agree to take this particular session. So, Dr. Ajay Gupta, without taking much of a time, the floor is open to you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for inviting me for this sentiment analysis session. And thank you all participants for this attending this session for sentiment analysis. In this session, I am going to share my experience about sentiment analysis. And in the process, I will also talk about how to analyze the data using software or using manually. I would rather encourage a lot of critical question because this is how we learn from each other, right? So, so first of all, so let me confirm first, my screen is visible to you? Yes. So sentiment analysis, the word has come from the Latin word like sentire. So sentiment, everybody is aware about what do we mean by sentiment. So sentiment is all about how do we feel about opinion or data or text. Okay. So the origin of this word is Latin, and this is how the word has come as a sentiment. So from data, this actually came in the mid of 20th century, and this is actually came from the extension of content analysis. So basically, in content analysis, what do we do in qualitative research and also quantitative research? Because many of you might be aware about content analysis is analyzed using qualitative data and quantitative data. And similarly, sentiment analysis is also performed using unstructured data. So unstructured data is usually qualitative data. So just like in content analysis, for example, if you go uh, content analysis using quantitative methods, we always seek for the occurrences, the frequency of the particular word, particular content. And that is why we always talk about the content. So we always seek for the content from the entire text. Either you go with the secondary data or primary data. So when you go with the only seeking the frequencies or occurrence of particular word, we use usually quantitative analysis and we use all statistical tool to analyze content analysis. But when we go with analyzing all those word or text or content in the particular context, that means when we are using the word context and we try to understand the meaning of those content in the particular context, we use qualitative content analysis. Exactly in the same way, sentiment analysis, as we know, is all about knowing what sentiment is emerging from either the textual data or audio data or video data or any kind of unstructured data. We also know that there are a lot of similar words we come across like text mining, opinion mining, emotion mining, sentiment mining. All these words, they refer to sentiment analysis itself. Okay? So what do you mean by sentiment analysis? So as you can see on the screen, I'm not going to read the entire text, but uh, I would say that sentiment analysis use unstructured data. Unstructured data is not about closed-ended question or closed-ended answer. Unstructured data is the wide data. It could be your customer review, employee satisfaction review, or any secondary data, primary data, text, transcript, audio, video, social media comment, reviews, any kind of data which are structured. And from structured data, researcher usually seeks to find out what kind of emotions, what kind of sentiments, what kind of attitude emerging from the data. That means when we conduct sentiment analysis, researcher is more concerned about seeking the types of sentiment emerging from the entire data. Either you go with the customer satisfaction survey, employee survey, or any kind of survey based on unstructured data. We always seek sentiment or attitude or emotion. Why? Because all those sentiment, whether positive, negative, or any polarity, whether extreme side, positive side or negative side, they help us to understand the sentiment emerging from the people, whether it is a customer, whether it is employee. So you can see here, uh, it's coming from the text, spoken language, audio data, interviews, open-ended survey responses, focus groups, social media, and public discourse. So these are basically the type of data we seek while going with sentiment analysis. So as I have already said that sentiment analysis is also known by different name. And this is basically a computational technique. That means we try to analyze currencies, the frequencies, and how all those sentiments are interrelated. And we try to find out pattern from the data itself. Okay, so it's very important to know about what kind of data we should use and what are the different sources of data uh, content analysis seek for. So first of all, in any sentiment analysis, which is also extension of content analysis, we can take either primary source of information or primary data or also secondary data. Okay? From primary data, you can say that you can take in-depth interviews, focus group discussion, telephonic interviews, face-to-face discussion, your observation, or any information shared in private space, or maybe based on informal interaction. So these are the different sources where researchers seek primary data, primary information, right? Primary source of information. When we go back to secondary source of information, which is publicly available, like social media comments or maybe YouTube video along with the caption or along with the transcript or maybe customer reviews or social media comments, Twitter data, Facebook data, YouTube data. So any data which is available in public domain, which can be accessed by anybody, any researcher. From those data, based on our objective, we try to find out how we can analyze all those data. Okay, so it's very important to first set the objective of your research, sentiment analysis. Why do you need sentiment analysis from data? And then accordingly, you need to find out what kind of sentiment you are going to seek for. Usually, if you with literature of qualitative research, always literature talk about three types of sentiment. They always talk about positive sentiment, negative sentiment, and neutral. So whatever literature I have gone through, I have seen polarity to two extreme side, positive, negative, and in between. But I have critically analyzed the situation that no emotion can not only be on extreme side and in between side. There might be lot of situation which will be either uh, in between neutral and positive and in between neutral and negative. That means based on objective and based on researcher understanding and based on sentiment emerging from the data, researcher can decide between neutral and positive how many more points or how many more sentiment can be categorized and how many more sentiment can be created between either neutral to positive and neutral to negative. So maybe whatever information emerging, whatever sentiment emerging, for example, uh, if somebody is going to find out customer satisfaction survey, and already their comments are available. So maybe the words emerge like extremely happy, happy, somehow happy, right? Little bit happy. So if you categorize all these keywords like happy, you will find that all are positive sentiment. But if you are the drawback of putting all those in one category like happy, they may not give you the true picture of sentiment of the people. Whatever literature says, literature always say that two polarity, either extreme positive or extreme negative or in between neutral. So I always say that even though happy, very happy, extremely happy, very good, all this talking about the positive emotion, positive sentiment, always researcher need to find out uh, what are the occurrence of extremely happy or very happy, and then need to segregate all those in the particular category. If people say that somewhat happy, they should also categorize somewhat happy. Of course, it is a positive sentiment, but they should also make sure that even the positive side, what are the extreme side and what is not on the extreme side. So, what is on extreme positive side and what is more on neutral side. If researcher conduct these kind of research, so between positive and negative, if they can find out 5 to 6 point where they can find out how much, how far, then this will give true picture of any sentiment analysis. Either you go with customer satisfaction survey or even employee survey or any kind of sentiment you are going to analyze. So this is my observation from the existing literature. So I would suggest if anybody is going to conduct sentiment analysis on any existing data, maybe primary data, maybe secondary data, maybe the social media data, they should identify what kind of sentiments are emerging. And the best way to identify the types of sentiment is to, first of all, you identify whether the sentiment is positive or negative. First of all, you make some prefix or suffix. And then you try to identify some characteristics. Some you identify any whether you are going with the manual data analysis or using any software, maybe Atlas TI or maybe NVivo or any kind of software. Always make a practice of putting some kind of prefix so that you can identify. For example, if you are going to conduct employee satisfaction survey, and from employee satisfaction survey, if there are five uh, positive sentiments are coming, that employees are extremely happy, employees are very happy or somewhat happy or only happy, then you need to find out happy as a positive sentiment, happy is a content. And if you are going to analyze either manually or using software, you can use like one plus, very happy, double plus, extremely happy, or similarly, you can pen it perfect so that later on you can identify uh, the exact sentiment from the data itself. Okay? Before that, okay, uh, okay. Now there is lot of discussion and lot of misconception between content analysis and sentiment analysis. And as I have said that sentiment analysis is the extension of content analysis. So we need to also understand how content analysis is different from sentiment analysis. Just like we mentioned that content analysis uh, uses also unstructured data, and in content analysis, we try to find out uh, the concept or the content emerging from the data itself, whether we are using quantitative data analysis where you use statistical methods, where we focus more about occurrences, frequencies of the particular word which is occurring from the content. In content analysis, the researcher is not concerned about what sentiment is emerging because the focus is not to find out the sentiment, but the focus is to find out the content emerging from the data itself. When you go with the qualitative content analysis, of course, we try to go deeper to understand if particular word or particular concept is emerging, then what is the context? In which context it is coming? So when we are putting only content and we are focused about the frequencies or occurrences, that become statistical data analysis, and we use quantitative data analysis methods. When we are more focused about the content or character or within the context, then definitely we are going to find out what is the meaning of those content in the particular context. And that help anybody within organization, top management or leaders to identify if particular things are happening, what are the different context, what are different situation, what are the different condition, and this help them to find out the remedial measures. Okay. So, so the question which can come under the content analysis is what are the main issues and how often user mention, right? For example, if you're going with the customer review of anything, then main issues and how often. So more about the frequencies in the content analysis and frequency in the context as a qualitative data analysis. Now, in sentiment analysis, uh, what literature says is about, we are more concerned about finding out the emotional tonality of the people, what they say about it. That they're talking positive, they're talking negative, or they are taking it. So even if you go to literature, they will always, you will often find the three keywords only: positive, negatives, and neutral. But when I went to many content and many literature and many reviews when I conducted, then I found that uh, there are a lot of bifurcation, lot of categorization we can do, even within positive, even within negative. Uh, but anyhow, and neutral, I didn't find much useful in sentiment analysis. Even though the things are given that neutral is a sentiment, but I do not understand how neutral is a sentiment. As uh, in sentiment analysis, we are more concerned about what are the positive sentiment and what are the negative sentiments, and from there we take a lot of clue. Okay, so emotional tone could be anything like in any organization or within any customer review, that anger, joy, happiness, shyness, anxiety, frustration. And for doing sentiment analysis, the researcher might ask question about how do people feel about product issues, which aspects trigger dissatisfaction and delight. That means which aspects means we are more concerned about the context or also the characters, right? So this is the difference between content and uh, sentiment analysis. I've already mentioned that sentiment analysis can be used both qualitative and quantitative, but often works best in mixed method design. Okay. When we use qualitative approach, we are more concerned about finding out the emotions, and there we are not concerned about the occurrences of all those words, but we are more concerned about how those word occurs and how do researcher can interpret all those words using the context. Okay. But when we are using quantitative methods as an analysis, we seek the particular sentiment, maybe positive sentiment within positive, how deep positive, or negative sentiment, how negative, and then we use statistical methods. Okay. Now, if you need to uh, use employee satisfaction survey, if this is one of the topic, because all these things that so far I have discussed is about already there in the literature. But practically, more important is not about how you're going to analyze your data, but how you can capture authentic data, right? Data is not about only taking the opinion of the people, but also about knowing what are the different processes, what are the different methods you have used to collect data. So I am asking question, if you want to uh, collect data to understand employee sentiment survey. For example, this is one of the topics, employees sentiment survey. So how you can collect your data so that employee truly reflect their opinion, their sentiment, or their mood in the question. How do you make sure that employee truly reflect their opinion, and as a researcher, you capture real information? Anybody? If this is the topic that you are going to find out employee sentiment survey, and you want to create some question using internet, using Google Form. Can someone suggest me what question can you generate, what question can you create, and how can you ensure that whatever information you are getting, uh, employees are giving uh, the right answer or authentic answer? Because in qualitative data, especially field-based data, it's very important to identify that quality of data is trustworthy, valid. Otherwise, if the process is not clear, only you have collected data without understanding unsaid part, it will become very, very difficult for any researcher to find out what emerged from the data. Anyone? So I've given you a very clear topic about employee sentiment survey using Google Form. If you want to create 5 questions so that you can find out how employees are satisfied, and what question can you generate, can somebody help me out? So I will also give you some my understanding, my insight about it. Anyone?
Sir, I have written in chat box.
Okay. Let me. Satisfied with current job. What else? What else? Motivation provided to improve. Please go ahead. You can write question and I will give you a lot of insight about it. I'm not testing your knowledge, but it's very important to find out the right question and right methods to actually capture the real information. Motivation provided to improve. Anybody else? If you want to know the sentiment, employee sentiment with agree to disagree option. Okay, okay, okay.
I would like to try.
Qualitative approach, we can't use Likert scale questions.
Very true. Very nice. Very good. Of course. Very nice. We cannot use that because in sentiment analysis we use unstructured data, and unstructured data is not closed-ended question and closed-ended option. You should always raise open-ended question, and you always give space for employees to share their experience. Never ask any question which leads to yes or no, or any question which leading to somehow limited answer. Always write what is your opinion, what do you think, what is your view, what is your experience, right? These are the way to ask question. Never ask any closed-ended question, because this is about unstructured. Because the moment you are going to ask closed-ended question, this will be structured data. Unstructured data is all about the text, all about the opinion. That is why sentiment analysis is also known as opinion mining, text mining, sentiment mining. So already people are given sentiment, and from those sentiment, you are going to pick up, you are going to identify all those findings. Anyone else? Anyone else?
Sir, indirect question like, would you like to look for opportunities outside the organization or something like that? to understand the sentiment. Indirect way of asking.
First of all, I'd like to ask question that when you are going to send Google survey form or any tool to your own employees, think the psychology of employee. Do you think that people will really give right response? They will write their mind, write their feeling. My question to you. Tell me yes or no.
No.
Mostly no.
Mostly no. Then being researcher, you need to find out what is the right method, right source, right way, right platform to capture your employees' sentiment correctly. And why they will not write? Why I'm asking this question? Because the moment you are going to write either your thesis, PhD thesis, or you are going to write research paper, unless you justify this reason, people will simply have question about you have given Google form. What are the obstacle? What are the challenging for employees to write their true comment? Do you have any idea about it?
Sir, probably the undercurrent of fear of getting identified.
Yeah, true, very true. Even though you say that this will be anonymous, this will be only between researcher and respondent, we are not going to disclose the name, but people are aware that any internet-based tool can capture your identifying information, maybe your email ID, maybe your name, maybe your organization name, will identify. And there is a lot of risk associated with writing their own feeling. And that is why many employees would prefer to withhold their opinion and they will write not the real answer, but they will write mostly a socially desirable answer. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir, it is very
Yes,
true.
yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
But
So,
can you
Yes, sir.
hear me, sir?
yes, sir,
Can you
yes, sir,
hear me?
yes, sir. Yes, yes.
Sometimes, so whenever we take any feedback from any employee, we have to see that what situation means we have to see at what circumstances he is. Suppose he is sitting somewhere else, so we cannot ask that questions. He should be at comfort level. So that and the situation also matters sir, sometimes. Suppose if he is sitting with your friends or he's sitting somewhere else, so we cannot command. I am also one thing of sure. Sometimes we don't get a clear picture by that Google form and all these things. We should have something detailed interview with him, and then we have to analyze that. I think it is my opinion, sir.
Absolutely, absolutely fine. So why I first of all I appreciate your concern. That's absolutely correct. So that is why I raise this question. Whenever I take this workshop, I raise this question to explore what are the different ways where any inhibition, any fear, any anxiety, or any perceived risk among respondent can be avoided. That is why I ask this question. So I agree that on the basis of comfort or if you change the location, but as long as the respondent feel that my identification will be revealed in any way, maybe my name or even if you're going to conduct interview and if you're going to audio record it, anyway, if identification is going to be revealed, definitely most of the employees withhold their true feelings and they will give only answer which is socially desirable and they will not speak from the bottom of their heart. So, having said that, my question to you is there any other way where all these inhibitions, all these fears, all these anxiety, all these perceived risks can be minimized? Is there any way out?
Maybe you can design questions.
Like,
Like I've put one in the chat. What do you look forward to when you wake up in the morning?
okay. Mm-hmm.
It's
Okay.
actually used in HR.
Mm-hmm.
So
Go
that
ahead, go ahead.
employees will start talking about, like, if the last thing they're looking forward is going to work, then you've got your answer there.
Mhm, mhm. But my agree. I completely understand because you are telling from your own experience. I understand it. But if the topic is very specific, that within your own organization, imagining that there are 100 employees, middle managers, I'm giving the context, 100 middle managers, and if you want to uh, study middle managers sentiment survey within your own organization, what could be the best way or better way so that at least their inhibitions, their perceived fear can be minimized? I'm just asking the method, and then later on we can design. And why
Sir,
I ask this? Yeah, please go ahead.
sorry to interrupt you, sir. So basically, in my opinion, I feel even the attrition rate of the organization can also be considered, like what is the mind frame of the employees working, or maybe the growth percentage and the attrition rate.
I completely appreciate it, but the question is how attrition data has been taken is also true. Because only looking at the attrition rate, we cannot find out a reason why attrition rate is high or low. Unless the people, those who have left organization, they have well documented, either they have well documented or there is some process in place that somebody engage into discussing those employees and put write their true feelings, like why people are leaving. Unless we understand that, only looking at some piece of paper and only looking at attrition rate, we cannot exactly find out the reason, underlying reason that why people are leaving. Do you agree with me or not?
Yes, sir.
Exit interviews.
Yes, sir.
Sir,
Yes.
exit confidential
Exit
interviews.
interviews.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. No, no. So somebody said about exit counseling interview. So please go ahead.
Yeah, that's what I was telling, sir. That exit interview, but in a confidential manner.
Exactly. Exactly. Can you tell me more how it can be possible? I completely understand your point. Yeah. Go ahead, please.
It should come up like you wanted to retain the employee, and you wanted to share whatever why exactly the person is leaving the organization.
Very
In a
true.
very, you have to first gain the confidence of the employee, then only the person will open up. Otherwise everybody resists from opening up.
I completely appreciate this. So you need to create mechanism where outgoing employees should really speak from the bottom of their heart. And the moment you are going to ask him to sign on the information or record information or write in their own hand, they will hardly write because simply they will write this personal reason only. So you need to create a mechanism, and you rightly said that that no information will be revealed to anybody that why person is leaving. If you create a mechanism from HR side, if you document somewhere in a close in confidentiality manner, otherwise simply asking employees to just fill up the form and just sign. No matter how big is your data, the real reason can never be revealed. That is why I always say about the process. Process is more important. So people will simply ask about, even if you're going to conduct research on attrition rate. Maybe if it is your PhD topic or maybe the research paper, people will simply ask about, tell me the process of collecting all those data. And if process is clear and all those fear can be addressed, then people will never ask about the quality of data because they will find that you have ensured the quality check and quality of data will be.
Sir, may I
That,
just
yeah,
put forth one point? Can behavioral observations can be one of the method?
absolutely yes, but not alone. Absolutely
Because
fine because yes, I completely agree. Yes, true. Because in observation is one method of data collection in qualitative research. But observation should always be considered along with any other methods. Only observation is not enough unless you have some evidences. Maybe based
yeah.
on interview, based on some previous record or anything. But that is one method of data collection that can be taken into account, but not alone.
I agree. It has to be in conjunction with something else to back up the observation,
Perfect. Just
validate the
like,
observation.
absolutely. Just like I'll tell you one more example. Just like I ask always question about whenever people present their data about, I conducted in-depth interviews and I also conducted focus group discussion. So I simply ask question because both have different objectives. So I always ask question, and I'm also asking question to you to take your opinion to understanding. Whenever researcher conduct in-depth, semi-structured in-depth interview in field-based research, and if he says that I have also conduct focus group discussion, what justification can you provide to your panelist or anybody else? Because both have different purpose.
Right.
The question is clear, no?
Yes.
Yes. So I repeat my question. If you have collected semi-structured in-depth interview from some participant, maybe 10 participants, and you also said that I also collected 2 focus group discussion data. That how do you justify that you used both method of data collection? What are the different reason or what are the different conditions when people use both data collection method, in-depth data collection, or I mean face-to-face interview, and also focus group data collection?
The focus group can be on a general issue, like a situation faced by the employees. Because exit interview cannot happen in mass. Their focus group discussion doesn't apply, I believe. I don't know. But I believe. So in that case, maybe a situation has arose in the organization where everybody is having the same opinion or may have different opinion on a particular situation, maybe a change which has taken place. There we can conduct a FD, focus group discussion.
Okay. I'll explain it later. I seek more opinion from respondent.
Sir,
Yeah.
initial exploration happens through focus group, whereas many a times the interviews are used for validating certain things, whatever we have proved through other methods.
Some more opinion. I can bet you that I will give you a very clear example and very clear understanding that you will never forget when both are used and which condition, which are those conditions. So that is why I seek your understanding about it.
Mostly in-depth interviews are used when in critical situations or in sensitive, when the matter is very sensitive. About that, the in-depth interviews are conducted.
Okay. Some more opinion?
When you have a lot of people, you use focus group
Hmm?
because you can do it as a group. But when you have fewer people and you need more detailed information, you do in-depth interview, one-on-one.
Sir,
Anyone else? Yeah.
sir, that exit interviews, it is a correct method, I suppose, because whenever any person leave the organizations, so he knows that he is not going to join this organization again. And when he is leaving that management, also they will not call him again. So he is very means open, and whatever issues are there, what he was facing, why he is leaving. Suppose it is a issue of salaries, so he can say that I was not getting good salaries. I am getting somewhere else good salary. That's why I'm leaving.
सर
Sometimes he
की एक
may say that
मीटिंग में
I
बोलिए
don't
ना
like the
कुछ है.
management.
No,
Hello.
actually,
Sometimes he.
yeah, go
So
ahead.
he made in exit interview. In exit interview, he's made very open, and that may be the correct answer rather than
हाँ
focusing.
चलेगा ना. अगर वो थोड़ा कुछ वो इंसिडेंटल एक्सपेंसेस है ले लेंगे, साथ में ले जाएंगे.
Sir, besides FGD, usually, as a group dimension, whereas interview can be individual. So maybe
yes,
a deeper
that's true.
understanding of the concept will get clear from interviews, whereas FGD can help us to explore or understand the group-wise understanding of the things.
No. So, okay, I'll come and explain each and everything. So, one of the participants and he said that in exit interview, once you have decided to leave, you are more likely to tell the real reason why you are leaving. You think psychologically, when you have decided to leave the organization, people hardly take care of, worry about when they leave the organization. So they are not forced, they are not bound to write the real reason. And they also know that there are methods of, there are process of reference check. So if they write the real reason, if they have some dissatisfaction with supervisor or salary or admin, so again, in case of reference check, there is some kind of perceived fear that it will backfire. So mostly, I understand that when people decide to leave, automatically most of them, they do not write the real reason. Most of them just try to be on the safer side. They don't want to put themselves into risk that a organization within organization, anybody can have any adverse opinion about them. So you rethink about whether employees are going to write the real reason, because they have already made up their mind to leave. So they are hardly worry about, uh, the organization. This is one of psychological reason why it's very difficult to capture the real reason why people leave, unless you create a very robust mechanism, fear-free mechanism with full confidential, that the things will remain between you and me, and your name will not be disclosed. Otherwise, people hardly share their real reason why they leave. So this is one thing. Secondly, interview, in-depth interview and focus group discussion. Of course, both have different purpose. In-depth interview, of course, some of you mentioned about this is the individual interview, and focus group discussion. You invite a lot of people. First of all, uh, in-depth semi-structured interview is taken place at the natural settings of workplace. Wherever employee works, usually as per, interview take place, and the process is known as naturalistic inquiry. Buba and Lincoln paper has clearly written that the process of naturalistic inquiry. The very good paper, you can read it. In 1985, it got published. So, in-depth interview always take place at the natural place of work of respondent, and you go deeper, and you have lot of question, maybe 20 question, 15 question, 10 question, and you go on the broader concept, you go deeper. Now, what happens in in-depth interview? There are many sensitive issues employees do not reveal. They try to withhold their opinion because of perceived risk associated with it. And in interview, they are free to not answer to all the questions. So what happens? Focus group discussion objective is to identify those issues which are not clearly emerged from in-depth interviews, or all those issues where many respondents, they feel hesitation, they hesitate to answer those questions. So as a researcher, he or she picks up all those area, all those topics, that these topics are not clearly emerging from in-depth interview. Based on all those questions, researcher decides to organize focus group discussion to explore all those questions, through all those questions. So for example, in in-depth interview, you have 20 questions. So in focus group discussion, you don't need to go with the 20 questions. You go with only selected, pointed question, 4 or 5 questions. And all those questions are based on which have not been fully covered, not been fully captured through in-depth interviews from many respondents. So that is why the purpose of focus group discussion is to capture all those information which are generally not emerged through in-depth interviews. And what happens in focus group discussion? In focus group discussion, in face-to-face interview, you know your respondent know you. You as a researcher, he knows, and you know that he or she is a respondent in the organization. In focus group discussion, when you invite people, so usually uh, the focus group discussion number is 6 participants. Ideal number is 6 participants. It can go up to 12 depending on the situation and context. So usually you invite people, those who know the concept, and the most critical part is participant, those who are invited, they are unknown to each other. They should not know each other. Second condition. Third condition is focus group discussion doesn't take place at the natural place of work. It is always taken place at the different place of work setting. Maybe anywhere in the hotel or any other places, or you identify any places, but third place, not at any workplace it takes place, right? So you invite people, those who have experience, who can share idea, their experience about the concept. You invite them and make sure that before focus group discussion starts, I'm giving you the very critical point. Before focus group discussion starts, they should not interact among themselves. Why? There is a reason behind it. If they interact among themselves, they will come to know the identity of other people. And once they come to know the identity of other person, knowing their identity will influence the quality of data. Because your objective as a focus group discussion and invite people is to get deeper understanding about the concept which was not captured through in-depth interviews, right? And that is why you invite a lot of people, so that without having any hesitation, without having any fear, you just throw question to them, and there are moderator and there are facilitators. So person in-depth interview is known as interviewer. You are going as researcher is known as interviewer, but in focus group discussion, the person who is conducting focus group discussion is known as facilitator. Name change, facilitator. And there is one moderator. Moderator is going to also write note, facial expression, what people say, and they are also going to set the rule of the focus group discussion. Along with facilitator also note down the facial expression and note down, conduct all this focus group discussion in very cordial manner. This is how it happens. When focus group discussion is over, then they are allowed to exchange their card or know each other. But as a researcher, you must know that before your focus group discussion starts, they should not know each other. So there is a specific purpose. Always in-depth interview take place. All of a sudden, you cannot go with the focus group discussion. When things are not captured using in-depth interview, then only focus group discussion is used. Without knowing the clear reason, if you say that I use focus group discussion, if people say that why, you may not give correct answer. So I've given you the clue, I have given you the real reason, when, how, and in what condition you use in-depth semi-structured interview, and in what condition focus group discussion is used. Is it clear to you, or do you have any other question? I will be happy to answer your question. Any question by anybody? Am I audible? Am I audible to you?
Yes,
Yes,
Sumit.
sir.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yes, yes, very much.
So the explanation I have given to you. If you have any question, anything, or any critical observation, or anything you could not understand, please let me know, because these are very, very important. Because analysis in qualitative research plays only 10 to 15% of role. 85% role or 75% or 80% role is played during data collection, question designing, and the reason what you have done it. So unless you know the research methodology, research design, only if you say the analysis and I have collected data without knowing the reason why you have collected, doesn't serve any purpose. It defeats the purpose of research. Quality of data you need to ensure, validity of data, trustworthiness of data. Analysis plays only 15 to 20% role in quality research. That is why it's very important. So do you have any question about when to use focus group discussion, when to use uh, in-depth interview, and which condition, and what are the people? I have given you just basic information. There are many more information about it. If you ask question, it will be easy for me to understand whether you really understand the concepts or not. Or if you are clear about it, then also it's fine. If you are not clear about it, you ask me question, then I would like to clarify your concepts and your understanding?
I think we can go
Yes.
ahead.
This is very, very important. Now, so coming back to previous question, that how you can minimize perceived fear among employees where they are working. If you want to conduct employee sentiment survey, is not to use any internet methods, because no matter how you claim, or no matter you claim that it will be between you and me, people will know that there are different powerful AI tool. There are different ways to capture your identity, and people are more likely to withhold their opinion. So you need to find out any methods where their identity can be minimized. Maybe you can use some kind of paper-based discussion, anonymous paper-based discussion, or maybe you can have some suggestion box that people will type written, and they will write their opinion, they will put in their things. Or maybe you can organize any meeting and ask them, send them to some paper and ask them to just write their opinion, feeling, put in some box, right? And then based on all those survey and opinion, you can analyze it. You need to find out where their identity or identifying information can be minimized. Then only you can find out the real sentiment. This is one way. Second, secondly, there are other people, those who are staying outside your organization, remote location. For example, if you're Mumbai, people are staying in maybe Kolkata, maybe Chennai, other location. And if you also need to include them into your opinion in your own survey, so telephonic discussion, telephonic conversation in qualitative research is well accepted in such conditions where there is no feasibility for researcher to reach to respondent. And while writing your research paper, while writing your thesis, you can write all these points that my respondent is staying far location where it is not feasible to. So I conducted telephonic interviews, which is well accepted. Nobody can question. But as far as in-depth interview is concerned, always make note that in-depth interviews should be mostly taken place at the natural place of work of respondent. If your respondent say that at convenient place you come to my home Sunday, only in extreme situation where it is not possible to conduct interview at natural place of work, then only you should accept it. Otherwise, uh, because what will happen? We always say that qualitative research is contextual inquiry. The moment you are going to conduct interview at any other place, contextual parameters are missing, and that is why that defeats the purpose of conducting research. Of course, even if you are taking at home or any other place, then you should provide a strong reason why conducting interview at natural place of setting was not possible, and in what condition I conducted interview with XYZ place except natural place of work. Right? Is it clear to you? Is it clear to you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Great. Now, uh, okay. Now I will discuss this slide, data analysis step, how to analyze data. Either you are using any software or you are doing it manually. Now, first of all, you need to define for any sentiment analysis, either you are going with the customer sentiment analysis or employee sentiment analysis or middle manager sentiment analysis or faculty sentiment analysis or researcher sentiment. Any word you can put as a prefix and then put sentiment analysis. First of all, you need to clear cut find out the objective, why you need sentiment analysis, and what is the scope of it. For example, I have just written two words like employee satisfaction or customer satisfaction. You need to find out data collection methods, and while identifying data collection methods is very important, identify methods where any kind of fear, anxiety are their hesitation can be minimized, because if you cannot address that, there will be a lot of question about the quality of data that you have collected. It's not about how big you have collected data, but what process you have ensured data collection so that you have captured the real voices of your respondent. That's very important. Third point is once you have collected data, there is process of inclusion and exclusion criteria, which is also known as data cleaning. I'll give you example of this. For example, if you have collected data, for example, time being, you can assume that you have collected data using Google Form. So in Google Form, when you download data, there will be okay. Anyway, if you are going to collect data, do you really need name of the respondent? Do you think that this parameter is important? Asking name of respondent? While seeking information using Google Form, do you think name is important?
Not exactly, sir.
No.
Depends on the type of research you are doing.
It is not important at all. It doesn't depend because in any research, what is more important? What has been said or who has said it?
What?
What has been said?
Very good. Very good. Because the role of researchers is to find out the reality, find out the truth, so that any management or any superior or any policy makers can make decision based on what has been immersed. Okay. Now, uh, secondly, many people ask about age of respondent. Do you think that uh, this column really makes sense to a respondent, to researcher?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Age
Yes.
matters.
Age matters. So do you think that, okay, how many of you, do you think that people will really write, will be happy to write age?
Maybe write an age range, not exact age.
Okay. That could be one after it. And if you want to really know age of people within organization, what are the other question you can reframe that you can ask question that indirectly you can find out their age?
We
Is
can
there
ask
any
date
way?
of birth.
No. That will be more sensitive. People will never say.
Year of experience.
Year of
Very,
development.
very good. Absolutely. Year of experience. Year of your professional experience. Maybe total work experience. You can make sense out of it, right? Okay. Great. That is one way. You don't need.
Further,
Yeah.
in which year his pass out year means graduation or something like that. That from there also it can come.
No. It's not much important. Year of professional experience, it's fine. Year of
Age
professional
in the
experience.
company. Sir, age in the company.
Age in the company, people have left 2-3 organizations before. So it's better than we can ask the total professional experience. That will also work. And if you are more concerned about the particular company, then you can make another column that year of experience in the present company and total experience. Then you can make sense out of it, right? Now, do you think that in Google survey form you should ask the name of the organization? Name of the organization, because these are all ethical questions. Many people are not aware about what information we should seek, what information you should write in the research paper or thesis. Should we ask name of the organization
No.
if you're conducting PhD or any research?
Sir,
No.
rather than asking
No.
the name of organization, we
Yeah.
can ask that instant then in which group he falls.
Type of organization.
We can ask size of the organization.
Nice. I think तो बोल देंगे कि type of industry. So earlier respondent has already said it. हम उनको बोल देंगे कि किस इंडस्ट्री में काम करते हैं. For example, if you are working in the particular academic institution, particular management school, so we can say that industry. So maybe academic institutions kind of things, right? So you can find out the industry name. You don't need to ask exact name. Simple reason is There are three concepts of any research. Ethical concept of three research. One is confidentiality. Second is anonymity. Third is privacy. Are you aware about the three concepts? Confidentiality, privacy, and anonymity. Are you aware about it?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
It simply mean that there is mutual agreement between researcher and respondent that data should be private, confidential, and no personal and professional name will be revealed to any third person. That means because objective of any research across any globe, across any discipline is to help people, stakeholders. That is why by revealing any identifying information of person or organization, if it can harm, it defeats the basic purpose of research. So that is why either you are writing PhD thesis or you are writing research paper, you should write disguised name or you should not write any identifying information so that people can make interpretation, people can make sense that you're talking about so and so person, so and so organization. So make sure that you should write this guy's name and you should not disclose the name of the person, name of the organization in any way, because that defeats the purpose of research. So you should always follow the concept of privacy, confidentiality, and anonymity. So that is why in research, who said it doesn't matter much, but what has been said matters much. Yes, who said it also matters as long as you are conducting research in the different hierarchy within organization. Then maybe as a decision maker, you might be concerned about if this information is emerging that employees are dissatisfied, on which level it is coming, whether this information is emerging from middle level managers or senior manager or top management. Then it makes sense. Then you can say that this information is emerging from the top management. From giving this information also, you cannot identify who has said it, right? But never write any name of the person or name of the organization or any identifying information so that anybody can find out which organization you are talking about. Does it make sense to you? Is it clear? Okay. So in data cleaning, what do we do? In data cleaning, we try to exclude all those information that Google form has captured. For example, you need to exclude name, you need to exclude time is time when data has been collected. If any other information the person has given, you should include it. Do you think that in research gender matters? Do you think then any data collection gender matters? Gender.
Yes, sir, it matters.
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes, it matters. So always the method of writing is to always write three. Male, female, prefer not to disclose. So these are the international way of writing. People usually write it because many people prefer not to disclose their gender. So these are the ways. Okay. What more information can you write? So for example, all demographic profile you must capture. For example, year of experience, your designation, nature of industry, male and female, all those informations are important. Why? Because if you want to find out sentiment, for example, if employee sentiment survey, overall sentiment is coming positive for a situation, then uh, your your guide or anybody can ask, okay, tell me what sentiment is emerging on middle managers level, what sentiment emerging in male, what sentiment is emerging under female, what sentiment is emerging for employee those who are having 10 years of service, what sentiment is emerging for employee those who are having 20 years of service. So whenever you are going to collect data from employees, make sure that you capture all demographics of those people. For example, year of service, designation, gender, and total number of experience. Because these helpful to find out the pattern across different demographic profile. Okay. And accordingly, what my slide shows that sentiment you can categorize first positive, negative. Within positive, you can further categorize. Within negative, you can further categorize. And when you report either manually or using any software, there's a lot of visualization tool. You can say that how your information is watching so that it helps decision maker to make right decision and to find out where is the bottlenecks, where is the challenges, where is the problem, identify, and then you can rectify the issues. And then interpretation matters, and interpretation is purely based on what has been reported and what has been emerged. Okay. Question so far? Okay. So now, if unstructured data is given in any sentiment analysis, three things are very important. One is about the content. Content is all about sentiment. How you can segregate. So in sentiment, always you will find in literature they will they will talk about the polarity. Polarity means plus minus, means positive and negative. As a researcher, between these polarity, you need to find out which are the different points. It purely depends on the type of sentiment emerging from the data. Initially, it is not pre-decided. It is decided based on what is emerging from the data. And accordingly, you can make some points. In my opinion, between positive and negative, at least 5 to 6 sentiment, if you can create points, then this will give the true picture of sentiment of either customer or employees or anybody else, wherever you are going to conduct research. This will help decision maker or management or policy maker to actually pinpoint where is the problem. Simply saying that positive sentiment, negative sentiment will actually not give you the clear picture about at what level, how positive or how much negative, right? Second, identify characters, because even if you have review and from different region, if you have review from India, from Western world or anywhere, so you try to find out who are these characters which are giving this sentiment. So character wise, you can find out sentiment. Context wise, you can find out sentiment. For example, if you are going to find out employee sentiment survey, and this is pan India survey, so people will be more concerned about, okay, even the sentiment is positive. Can you tell me what is context specific sentiment emerging? For example, people will simply say that, okay, can you show me, can you visualize me east, west, north, south, wise, the sentiment of employee. So when you have collected data of the context, right, accordingly you can segregate the data. If you have created the character, I mean, within organization, if you have different hierarchy, different roles, you have segregated data, then sentiment can be, used by cross tabulation. You can find out what pattern is emerging. Okay. So these are the some idea about content analysis. Okay. So it is just kind of a repetition of it. And while using software, you can use manual coding, auto coding, AI coding. But I would caution you here. There's a lot of discussion take place about AI coding, about sentiment analysis or qualitative research, and there's a lot of research paper available. I always caution you, I always suggest you do not blindly rely on AI using qualitative data analysis. It has selective usage. Be very careful about using AI. And even if you use AI, always use review of all those sentiment, all those content of AI. Blindly depending on AI will defeat the purpose. Okay. When time permits, later on, sometimes I'll show you the difference between other methods and AI methods, how AI can actually misguide you and may not give you the true picture, because AI works on words and sentiments. And many times your experience is different from what has been said, because many things when you take interview, your brain capture from your six senses about the facial expression, body language, eye movement. AI doesn't capture all those non-verbal communication. AI works on the text, not about the emotions. So whatever words are given, only AI works on those words, but what has been captured by you, you know better. Okay. So I'll read the best practices based on my understanding about sentiment analysis. So quickly I will read, because so always uh, just a second. Let me charge my mobile. Okay, so these are the best practices in sentiment analysis, and I'll also share my PPTs to you. So identify sentiment and code them, categorize them, positive, negative, and based on research objective. Uh, identify characters and code them. Identify context. Context is very, very important. So never leave context while analyzing sentiment analysis, because without context, if you are going to do sentiment analysis, people will simply ask about uh, which context this sentiment is emerging. Okay? Most important part is when the large text is given, people can analyze on the entire text wise, word wise, and sentence wise. The best way to analyze sentiment analysis is always identify the particular sentence, because in the paragraph may be positive sentence, negative sentence, but do not highlight the entire sentence, entire paragraph. Always write sentence, sentiment, sentence wise. Always identify the sentence which has the sentiment, not the entire paragraph. Okay. Now, the last 2 points is about the Atlas TI software, where there are two options: code co-occurrence analysis, where you can find out how sentiments are interrelated and you can visualize them, and code document talks about based on the different demographic, what managers talking about particular sentiment, what senior manager talking about, faculty they are talking about. So on different demographic, you can find out the different sentiment. Okay, and with this, I thank you very much, and I open this floor for any question or any suggestions or any disturbing questions. I would like to answer to you about sentiment analysis and many things that we have discussed about data collection and designing questions and what are the key concepts we need to take into account. In-depth interviews, focus group discussions. So I stop here. You have any questions? So I
Yes. So which is the best tool for sentiment analysis?
Nowadays there's a lot of software and lot of AI tool as well. So in since I specialize in Atlas TI, so in Atlas TI there is option of sentiment analysis, but even if you use that sentiment analysis, it will only segregate the emotions into positive, negative, and neutral. And I have done it several times. Unless you review them manually, purely depending only on the software will defeat the purpose. So even if you use any software, whether you use HEF or NVivo or any software, also intervene by your own review. You do not blinded, depend on sentiment analysis. It is purely playing with the sentiment of the words. You segregate all those words and try to refine within those segregation how best you can pick up all those words. So HEF has option for sentiment analysis. But unlike in quantitative software, in qualitative software, unless you engage yourself, software only facilitate your time saving and produce lot of report. But unless you know the basics behind it, software cannot automatically analyze it. Okay.
Okay, so thank you.
Any other last question? Anybody? There is no other question. Thank you very much, Dr. Gupta, for being with us today and sharing your deep insight on the important topic of sentiment analysis. Thanks a lot. And thank you, everybody, for over here. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you all participants for
Thank you so much, sir.
lot of
Thank you.
information.
Great.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much.